Hi, I'm Ellis George, play Courtney Woods, and you're listening to the Fiveish Fangirls podcast.
The tangents this week continue all the way to episode 88 of the Fiveish Fangirls podcast. What are we watching? What are we reading? What are we listening to? What are we working on? Stay tuned to find out. Welcome everyone to this week's episode of the Fiveish Fangirls podcast. So glad you could join us. Let's start off like we do every week by going on the virtual table and see who's joined us this week.
This is Brittany in Belvedere.
This is Chrissy in Salt Lake City.
This is Holly from Wisconsin.
This is Mitch in Kitchener, Ontario.
And this is Rachel in Indianapolis, Indiana. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
We're five again.
Yay!
I love it when we're all up here.
Yeah.
I mean, there's reasons not to be here sometimes, but when we're all here, it's fun.
Yes. So, and we have got a lot to talk about. So, we're getting into news picking up because the shows are winding down, which that in itself is a bit of news, but we'll get to that. Anyway, first things first, a bit of 10 o'clock news, unfortunately. Eric Bauersfeld, hope I got that right, the voice of Admiral Akbar in Bib Fortuna from Star Wars, passed away at the age of 94. So most everyone, if you're even remotely a Star Wars fan, all you gotta do is look at another Star Wars fan and go, "It's a trap!" And that you bust out into giggles, and you go, "Yes!" So very, very iconic role as Admiral Akbar from the Star Wars franchise. He actually auditioned for the role of Yoda, but that obviously Frank Oz ended up getting that role, but ended up getting the role of Admiral Akbar, and played that in Return of the Jedi and 2 of the video games, and he was the voice of Akbar in The Force Awakens. So I don't know who potentially could be the voice of Akbar now for subsequent Star Wars films. So I'm sure there's other people that can do the voice. Probably whoever does the voice of Akbar in the cartoons, probably. That was my speculation when I was talking to Chauncey. So. Because I don't believe he did the voice of Akbar in any of the cartoons. So, if it's someone else, then potentially they could take that on, I guess. So, but, yep, sad. But he was 94, so nice, long life, and it's a trap we'll live on. And if Lou Mongello has his way, eventually when they put in Star Wars, he wants Admiral's snack bar. It's a snack as a food, as a dining option. It's a snack.
They need to have something.
Yes.
I mean, the joke is just too easy.
I
know.
Why
would you pass that up?
Yeah, Lou's been like pushing for that for years. Like, you need that Admiral snack bar. It's like, I will let you have that one, Disney. You don't have to pay me anything. Just take it and run with it.
Just go for it.
Just go for it. Anyway, so speaking of Star Wars, the internet broke a little bit earlier in the week.
Slightly.
Just a little bit. There's a little trailer that came out for the next Star Wars film, Rogue One, which, for the most people on my Facebook feed, it was like 95%. This is awesome, and then 5%. Where exactly does this fit into the Star Wars timeline?
Yeah, I mean, I know there are people out there who are like, what is this movie? Where's Finn? Where's Rey? Where's blah, blah, blah? And they're like, no. This one slots in before A New Hope, but there's no Luke or Leia or anything. It's just this is a heist movie where they steal the Death Star plans.
Pretty much.
Pretty much. That's the one sentence explanation.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
And then they're like, "Oh,
a lot
okay."
of people complain. I've seen that there are guys complaining about the fact that it's another female-led Star Wars movie.
They
You
could
know, I
sit on
honestly
it.
haven't seen, and you may be just in different circles that I am in. I've heard people say they've heard people complaining about it, but I mean, we watched it at our D&D group, which is there's me and another female that are in the group. The rest are all guys, and they're all looking at this like, ooh, she could be Mara Jade. Like, that is the prevailing theory, and they're all excited about it. If you don't know who Mara Jade is, she's the wife of Luke Skywalker in the expanded universe novels. So they're all kind of like, because at the end of the trailer, or towards the end, she's in that Empire black, looking like an Empire assassin. So, and that's the origin of Mara Jade. So it's like this girl could become Mara Jade. So they're like hoping that's where they go.
Mm-hmm.
And even if they don't, they're like, cool, because the whole movie they're excited about.
Yeah.
So I'm like, and they got Mon Mothma just like perfect. Like,
Mhm.
how in
Like, you found her clone. Wow. What I love
30
is,
years later.
yeah, I love that, though, that, with The Force Awakens coming, they were very hush-hush about, being very tight on the lid of what gets out, but we still got set photos, and we got little behind-the-scenes stuff from, like, J.J. Abrams and all that. But with this movie, like, we got, like, the one photo of the cast, and then we haven't seen anything until we got this trailer. Like, I don't remember seeing any set photos or anything. It's like, I almost forgot that they were making, if I didn't have it written down, I'd almost forget that this movie was being made, because everything was episode 7, episode 7, episode 7. It's like, oh yeah, there's another movie coming out.
Yeah, it was kind of like, did I imagine that they were doing more Star Wars movies? And like, no. And then the trailer came out, like, oh yeah, they are actually doing this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, but now we can write on that high for what, 8 months?
Yes, because I have to do the math. So
Yeah.
I guess now officially it's a December franchise then.
Yes. Until they decide to change something.
Yeah, or like there's a year where they have 2 come out, so they have one in the summer, one in the fall or the
Yeah.
winter.
I think they're probably content with them being winter releases. It's like Marvel can be released as a summer blockbuster, and then Star Wars right before Christmas. So
I'm fine with that.
So
Christmas,
you can sit.
Christmas kind of seems like, I mean, with Force Awakens, it was nice because it's Christmas and all the family's around, and of course that's my in-laws.
Yeah.
we all made it a special thing to go out to the movies on the day after Christmas and everything. So it was kind of a cool thing like that. But it gives everybody's out of school and people are off work for the most part, and it's a little easier to get to the movie theater for Christmas and New Year's. So
Plus, there's all those toys that people will buy as Christmas presents.
Yes, that is true. Like Star Wars is like I don't know that it was the first franchise to really get into the toy marketing, but it was one of the ones that really set the trend for toys and merchandise and stuff like that. Yeah. So that is appropriate.
Yeah. There's a reason that there's that scene in Spaceballs all about Spaceballs, the merchandise.
Spaceballs, the flamethrower. The kids love this one.
Yeah, exactly. So.
Which, hey, I don't care as long as if that merchandising allows them to make more Star Wars movies, go for it.
Sure. Yeah. Alrighty. Speaking of Disney, Disney entities, keeping in the Disney printing money wheelhouse.
Disney owns our wallet.
Yes.
I'm okay with this.
Yeah. So stay tuned all this week if you can if you could stay up that late. It's past my bedtime, unfortunately, but that's what YouTube is for. Jimmy Kimmel is going to be having a Marvel themed week, similar to what he did before Age of Ultron last year, except I think it was just one night last year where he had the entire cast and they played Drunk Family Feud. I don't think there's going to be any of that this year. But so four of the 5 shows this week will be Marvel themed. So one night it's going to be Chris Evans, Sebastian Stan, Anthony Mackie, and Paul Rudd will be on tomorrow's show, actually, as we're recording this. It's a Monday night. Wednesday will be Team Iron Man with Robert Downey Jr., Don Cheadle, Emily Van Camp, Chadwick Boseman, and Paul Bettany. And then Tuesday, so Tuesday night, late Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, internet's going to break again because Tuesday night is going to be a Benedict Cumberbatch, and they are going to drop the first trailer for Doctor Strange, which I'm very excited about. And apparently Clark Gregg's going to be on that show too. How Coulson fits in with Doctor Strange, I have no idea, but I'm excited to find out, potentially. And then Thursday, Chris Hemsworth, which Thor is not actually in Civil War, as far as we know. But Chris Hemsworth is...
It's Marvel.
Yeah, he's part of the family. He's gonna...
Whatever they...
Yeah, he's actually promoting the Huntsman Winter's War, but you know it still kind of works. But yeah, so I'm excited to see clips from this, and I'm also super excited for that Doctor Strange poster because I have been like chomping at the bit, like when are we gonna get Doctor Strange? When are we gonna get Doctor Strange? Apparently Tuesday night we are getting Doctor Strange. So excited.
Which I know is a slightly tangential, but it replies. So, you know, all those gifs of Benedict Cumberbatch leaping through random things.
Yes.
Bless the internet. Just bless the internet, because you knew that was coming.
Oh yeah.
when those pictures and video from the set started coming out, and we're just like, yeah, that's a thing.
Yeah. But you know, that's been all over the internet, and then come, you know, November when the movie comes, we're going to be watching the movie, and they're going to get that scene where they're in the street, and they like run and jump, and I'm sure it's probably they're actually like take off or something. I don't know if Doctor Strange can fly or not, but he's going to do something, and it's going to be like, that's the scene, that's the thing that became a meme.
Yep. Benedict Cumberbatch is just a walking meme. That's, you know, anything he does, you know, the photo bomb at the Oscars.
Yes. This.
I don't know. That guy.
Yeah.
The Sherlock facial expressions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Compared
Sherlock
to
is
the others.
hotter.
He becomes a meme just by existing. When they start making chocolate Easter bunnies of Benedict's face with bunny ears, you know, you're...
Oh, yeah.
I'm kidding. Anyway, so yeah, watch Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah. And Jimmy's a big old nerd.
Oh, yeah.
And so that's perfect.
But between him and Jimmy Fallon, the Jimmys know all their pop culture stuff.
Yep.
Anyway, on to more news. I don't know whether to categorize this one as a 10 o'clock news or... Well, it's not 10 o'clock news because no one died. Thank goodness.
No person.
No. But this is a little bit... but there's a reason, there's an explanation. So, during this past week, some rumors started flying around Salt Lake Comic-Con FanX, which we just had, and I did my report on a couple weeks ago. There were some rumors going around that there would be no FanX in 2017. Now, they've been doing this since 2014, where they have two Comic-Con events here in Salt Lake. And it's the same organizers and the same everything. And they're roughly 6 months apart. Sometimes the gap is a little more, sometimes it was a little less. And people were freaking out like, oh my gosh, there's not going to be FanX, what are we going to do? Even though they're still going to do Comic-Con. And they're like, oh, I'm just, when you let the rumor mill go, people come up with a lot of crazy crap. So finally, Brian Brandenburg, who's one of the co-founders of the con, finally just had to sit down, write up a response, and post it in the closed Facebook page, which I put a screen grab on because it's a closed Facebook page. I couldn't just share it on our page, explaining what was going on. And basically, it boils down to they start. Well, part of it is they have this partnership with Funko Pop Life, the little Funko bobblehead thing, that company. Mm-hmm. They started a partnership with them, and they're going to do FanX in a couple of places in Asia next year, or do something like that. So it's kind of a big deal, big business thing, whatever. But people in Salt Lake were like, "Don't you love us anymore? You don't." Blah blah blah. Everybody's freaking out. But the other big logistical problem is that the convention center is in downtown Salt Lake, and there is only one weekend available for them to have the Salt Palace for FanX in the spring, and it was the same weekend as the LDS Church's General Conference. And if you don't know, that is a very big semi-annual event, and it's always the first weekend in April and the first weekend in October. And the fall one doesn't conflict with anything much, but the spring one is the one that can cause a few problems. And if you try to have Comic-Con and General Conference the same weekend, holy crap, not only will you have massive traffic downtown, you will also have no hotel room availability or next to none, and it will just downtown would just be crazy overwhelmed. And it's just better if they don't do that. Well, people were getting mad because oh, you're capitulating to the church, blah blah blah. You know how people kind of get a little fuzzy about. Well, I don't want to say fuzzy, but they get a little complainy about it. But so there was some nasty name calling going around, which I will not go into here. So they had to clear that up and tell people stop throwing names around, stop doing this because that's just not right, and just knock it off. But the main part is that there will be no FanX next year, but they're also going to be doing some smaller events. For example, they are planning on a special movie screening this year of Captain America: Civil War.
Nice.
So they're going to be giving away tickets for people who follow Comic-Con for special screenings of that. I'm sure they're going to be doing more of those kinds of things. Maybe some they've been involved in 5K like superhero 5K marathons for certain charities and stuff like that. So they have promised they're going to be involved in some more smaller events. But there's an article that was in the Salt Lake Tribune that was talking about this, and it was a local columnist was talking to the founders of Comic-Con, and just kind of saying because a lot of people, the reason they started doing FanX originally was because the first Comic-Con was so huge, not everybody could go. They were turning people away at the doors because the fire marshal said, this is a fire hazard, there's too many people in the building. Mm-hmm. So they started doing two, because they're well, if you can't come to one, maybe you could come to the other. And now they've gotten to where ticket sales have kind of evened out, and they can kind of mitigate some of the crowds. So now they don't really need to have two events a year. And plus, for those of us who go to both of them, that's a lot of money to shell out for a con. I mean, after, and this article that we'll link to kind of explains, if you cosplay, you drop, $300 some odd on a cosplay, and that money adds up, and the time involved in putting it together. And even if you don't cosplay, that's a lot of money for tickets, time you take off work, the stuff you buy, the concessions at the convention center, And we were, Jared and I were even talking about it, how, the last fall, we bought a bunch of books, because, there were books from authors we we hadn't read, that they'd already come out. But then this time we didn't buy a lot of books because there wasn't very much that was brand new that had come out that we wanted. So it's like, if you have one every 6 months, roughly, then, you don't give, like, authors and artists time to come up with something new for them to sell at the convention. Fans don't have anything new, and you run the risk of burnout. And I think the main part, just kind of where, after I had a time to kind of process and think about it, it's like, if you do it twice a year, it's not as special as if you had just one great big one in once a year. And that's kind of where I come down on it, is I want this to stay unique and special, and I want them to be able to focus as much as they can on making just one really, really good. If it gets to the point, again, where it's so big that they need to have 2 a year, well, that's fine. And that's not to say they're never going to do another FanX. It's just next year they can't, getting the availability, for the venue. I'm like, if you don't have the venue, there's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
Which is, because Rachel and I were kind of talking about this in our chat the other day. She was asking, she saw the article, which I was surprised. Are you on the group, Rachel?
No, but this just the general Salt Lake Comic-Con Facebook page shared it.
Okay, because I was on the closed group and I saw it, and I was reading it.
The public Facebook, the public Facebook page shared it, and I didn't know if you. It looked like it was a new posting, so I didn't know if you'd had a chance to see it because you were working and all that. So I shared it with you. I read the whole thing, and I understand where they're coming from logically, but like we were saying in the chat, it's kind of hard for me to wrap my head around, just because I'm used to indie. And this is something that was actually brought up in the GeekyCon panel at HoosierCon with the people from PopCon and Starbase Indie and all that, whether indie was getting too saturated with geeky conventions, but unlike FanX and Salt Lake Comic-Con, where they're essentially the same con with a slightly different name, indie has a more variety of conventions. So Gen Con, it's the gaming convention. If you're a gamer, this is your thing. PopCon is kind of like a Comic-Con, but they're actually, after, last year, they realized that they could focus more on the popular culture, the YouTubers and like the lesser, top tier, well-known movie and TV celebrities. And there's an audience for that, because there's a couple of YouTuber like conventions. There's one in California and one in Florida. So that leaves PopCon to be like the Midwest YouTuber potential convention. And then we've also got like, occasionally the larger, like Wizard World has come here once and apparently decided that it wasn't worth coming back. So they haven't come back since, which is fine by me, really, because I've never been to a Wizard World convention, but to me, and people who have gone have agreed with me, they're kind of the Walmart of cons.
I kind of get
big,
that feeling.
Yeah, it's just big. They want you to come in the doors with your wallet wide open, just ready to just drop every dollar you have. And then in Indiana Comic-Con, which I'm not sure exactly who runs that. I don't think they're local, though. I think they're another kind of bigger company that hosts that, and they're still trying to figure out how to make their con work.
I mean, they with FanX, they try to differentiate that a little bit and have it be more focused on TV, but that kind of didn't work out quite as well, which is fine. I mean, Salt Lake Comic-Con is still a relatively new convention, but there's just been this geek culture just kind of simmering under the surface in Utah and surrounding areas that, like, you give us a Comic-Con, we're just like, heck yes, we've been waiting for this for a long time. I mean, we have smaller conventions, like there's Anime Bonsai, which is anime, obviously, it's in the name, and there's Life, the Universe, and Everything, LTUE, which is a writing convention down at Brigham Young University down in Provo, which a lot of authors and writers, like, Utah has a huge writing community. I mean, it's people, I've kind of just grown up sort of knowing like, oh yeah, there's a lot of local authors, but people like don't realize how many are around here. Like there's so many fantasy, sci-fi authors because it's just kind of grown up around. It's just kind of just happened.
Yeah.
How I mean, I could go into it, but it's a long and involved story, and I don't even know all the details. Jared would know more than I do. And then there's like Salt Lake Comic Con. It used to be called Geeks, Geeks, was kind of a gaming thing, and that's how Salt Lake Comic Con got started. Was that this was a smaller little gaming convention that they kind of tried to partner up with Dan Farr and Brian Brandenburg, and like, oh, we'll just do our little Comic Con, and then ticket sales just went nuts. And they're like, we need more room, so they moved it to the bigger convention center downtown. And so it's like people like, and then there's the Shakespeare Festival down in southern Utah, which doesn't really sound like a convention, but it kind of has like a bit of a Ren Fair feeling. It kind of pops up around it, or so I've been told. I've never actually been.
There's a market for those. Indy has one. That Fisher's has a Renaissance Fair that's been going on for like 20 years. So
yeah, and then there's like tons of things that I didn't even know existed, and then they all of a sudden show up in my Facebook feed because, of all the things I like. I'm like, that's here, that's local, that's wow, okay, that's crazy. So yeah, I mean, so it's not like we don't have anything. Like, and I was kind of like, I've never been to Anime Bonsai, but I'm like, I think that might be fun to go to.
Yeah.
So cutting out a few conventions, that would give, that kind of gives other conventions an opportunity to say, hey, we're here too, come see what we have to offer. And I'm just like, you know what, the more the merrier. Let's if we have to give up Fan X, like, I'm okay with that. That just leaves it open for more things to try out. Fantasy Con, they're getting that back together. So yeah, it's like, so we're not losing anything. They're just kind of realizing, okay, this has served its purpose, and we can give it a rest for at least a year, and it'll be back.
Yeah.
But they have other really cool opportunities. So I'm really proud of them. I'm glad that they're having all this success. So anyway, and if I haven't blathered on enough about conventions, well, this is convention related, but it's also awards. That have been announced. If you're familiar with Dragon Con, Dragon Con is 30 years old this year, which is kind of crazy to think about. It's the how do they describe it? It is the biggest non-Comic-Con fan convention in the United States, I believe, is how that is described.
It's in Atlanta, isn't it?
Huh?
It's in Atlanta, isn't it?
Yeah, it's in Atlanta.
Yeah.
And it's like I called it the Disneyland of conventions. Like you have San Diego Comic-Con, which is like for, the new and exciting Hollywood things, like this is our new season or a new movie of something coming up. Dragon Con.
Yep.
Dragon Con is a little more for the fans, I guess. I don't know how to describe it.
It's still huge. I know people that go to it. It's ridiculously huge, apparently.
Yes. So in conjunction with their 30th anniversary, this is what they said in the press release, is they're launching the first annual Dragon Award. And basically, it's anybody can nominate if you have an email address. You just go onto there, and it's for sci-fi, fantasy, novels, TV shows, games, movies, kind of a thing. So anyone can vote, anyone can nominate, and anyone can vote. And it's kind of a well, they don't say it outright in the press release, but it's a little bit of a response to some of the angst going on around some of the more, I don't want to call them mainstream because that's not quite the right word, but the more elite, quote unquote, sci-fi awards out there. But these are more for the fans.
It's like a People's Choice.
People's Choice, yeah. And so they're a little more fun, and there's not, the big ivory tower keeping people out because of some arbitrary unwritten rule that, this is our clubhouse and has been since, 1960, blah, 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 whatever. And so, anyone can go vote, even if you're not going to the convention. You don't have to drop a whole bunch of money. So I put it, I'm kind of excited about this because I'm like, I like awards. I like voting on things. I have things I like. I want to go vote.
Yeah.
So and there's, I had to think about a few of them because some of the categories are like best military, sci-fi, or fantasy, and I had to think about that one. So I'm like, what have I read that's military related? And I found one, and it was pretty good. And they have a category for middle grade or YA, which I think is awesome because not all sci-fi awards have a category for that. For mobile games, so they can differentiate between those, and console games, tabletop games, board games. You can vote for your favorite episode of a series, the TV series, favorite movie, and I'm sure they'll add more categories as the years go by. This is just the first year, so I just wanted to plug those because I have a lot of sci-fi Facebook friends who are super excited about these. So, and these are fun. So, go have fun. If you feel so inclined, you want to get your nominations in, make your voice heard. And even if it doesn't get nominated, hey, you spoke up, and so you feel part of the process. And it's kind of fun. Sure is a heck of a lot more fun than voting in the presidential election. About politics ever on this podcast.
Fair enough.
Yeah. But anyway,
yeah.
Vote on something that's actually enjoyable.
Yeah.
And
your Doctor Who will end up in there somewhere. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I did
mobile gaming Doctor Who Legacy.
Oh, I did because of the rules about when it had to be released. I didn't nominate Doctor Who Legacy as a whole, but I did nominate Doctor Who Legacy: The Sonic Adventures because that came out in August. So
that works.
That works. And I did nominate. I'm not telling you what to vote for, but I'm just telling you what I was excited about. I nominated Heaven Sent for best episode because, dude.
Yeah. I like it. Cool. Alrighty.
So go nominate your favorites. Whatever your favorite is, go talk it up.
Alrighty. And last but not least, mark your calendars for season finales. They're coming. You look at the calendar like, oh yeah, it's almost that time for summer hiatuses. So just some notable ones, stuff that we watch. So April 12th, actually, the day after tomorrow, iZombie. A week from tomorrow, next Monday, the April 18th, that will be the season finale of Supergirl. The following Monday after that, Scorpion, which I know Brittany watches that occasionally. Sunday, May 15th, Once Upon a Time. Monday, May 16th, Castle. Tuesday, May 17th, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So we'll only get, 2 episodes post. That could be interesting. So Thursday, May 19th, Legends of Tomorrow and The 100. I said it right this time. Wednesday, May 25th, Arrow and Supernatural. And Tuesday, June 21st, Person of Interest. So, as stuff is winding down, well...
If my TV tracking app is correct, Elementary is wrapping May 8th.
Oh, okay. It was not part of the list that I found, so...
I'm just saying, Elementary, May 8th, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, apparently there were 2 episodes that aired today.
Yep.
Yeah, that whole,
I'll have to get
doubling up on episodes can throw things off. So yeah, I've either you can either look at those as the date that our hearts will be crushed completely, or we'll get a respite from all the feels, or both.
Mm-hmm. Probably both.
Which right now, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is, I'm going to need blood pressure medicine with the way Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is going. So
Ugh. I know, I didn't get to watch it till a couple days after the episode aired, and I was just like, oh, ow.
Yeah. Oh, Marvel. The things you do to
Any
me.
of the season finales were like how Sleepy Hollow ended, because that season finale was just this last week. Ugh.
Yeah, I saw the headlines for that, and I'm like, okay.
Oh, gonna break in here with late breaking news. Apparently there's a new Suicide Squad trailer that just barely dropped not 2 minutes ago.
Yeah, I think they did that during the MTV video movie awards.
Ah, right.
So
it's on YouTube.
yeah,
I just saw someone in the closed Comic-Con
yeah.
group posted it on Facebook.
There's also a new Fantastic
couple
Beasts and Where to
more,
Find Them trailer as well.
Guest announcements for Fan Expo since last week.
Oh yeah, who they announced?
They have announced John Barrowman
Nice.
and Jill State and Alan Tudyk.
Sweet.
Nice.
Jewel State was in the last episode of Legends of Tomorrow. I was surprised to see her. Pleasantly surprised. She was quite good.
Mm. Well, John Barrowman, that should be interesting. I got into a discussion, a small side tangent here.
My guest list.
Yeah, I was at a Hancock, or my local Hancock Fabrics, just to see what they had left because they're going out of business. So stuff was getting drastically reduced. So I stopped in and picked up some fabric for the cosplay list. Keeps growing, but I was waiting to get my fabric cut because they were quite busy, and I got to talk to the gal in front of me, and got to talking about Doctor Who and conventions and all that, and of course we got to talking about John Barrowman and how how vivacious he is as a person. And I told her that Alex Kingston apparently isn't a whole lot better, and I told her the story that you told that Alex told from FanX about the devices that go moo.
Oh yes. Yeah, no, just your whole persona of being on stage, like, she didn't even have to say anything. She just has to look at somebody a certain way, and we all just laugh. Of course, the little mechanical cat ears on her head didn't help much.
Yeah. I told the gal that I was in line with me, though, I said, heaven forbid anyone goes to a convention where John Barrowman and Alex Kingston are guests at the same time. You're going to need a cigarette and a hard drink afterwards.
Which, now I'm curious.
At FanX this September.
That's right. Alex Kingston's there. I was just going to say, I'm like, have they ever been at a convention together? Oh boy.
It's going to need to be at least 18 and up. You're going to be carded at the door.
Advised.
That'll be Fan Expo after dark.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. Just be prepared to need to cool yourself off or something.
If Alex Kingston and John Barrowman being at the same convention is something you are looking forward to, come up to Canada.
Yes.
We're gonna there you go in September.
It's gonna be one heck of a time.
Well, now that I remember it, Alex Kingston was supposed to have been at Comic-Con in September. John Barrowman was there, so we could have had it, but she had to cancel. She was doing the.
That's because she was doing Doctor Who. So we forgave her for that. So.
Yes, I heartily forgave her for that.
Yep.
After we saw the Husbands of River Song, but it was still, and I finally got to see her anyway, so it all worked out.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me. Anyway, I just had to share that little tangent that I shared. I've shared one of your stories, Chrissy, with a complete stranger.
I love that.
Yeah. Anywhoozles. So that's it for news. So moving on to, we're gonna try something a little different this week. So because we're in between topics at the moment, waiting for stuff to end, season finales, waiting for movies to come out, this, that, and the other thing. So we are actually, I came up with this idea. I'm actually stealing this from the blogging universe. I've actually used this prompt a couple of times on my blog, and I stole it from.
I've done it once.
Yeah, I stole it from someone who stole it from someone else, so I don't know exactly where the origins of this prompt come from.
Steal being borrowed with every intent of taking it back, but not really.
Yeah. Well, I think the first time I used it, I made sure to attribute who I got it from, and they attributed who they got it from, but that's been so long ago I can't tell you. Unless I dug up the first time I used it on my blog, which I guess I could if I really wanted to. But actually, the gal I think I got it from doesn't even blog anymore, so that's kind of a moot point at this point, I think. We'll go with that, though. So the prompt is essentially currently, and there's a handful of just one or two word. You're supposed to essentially fill in the rest of the sentence and add pictures or funny GIFs if you want, I guess. And I actually took out the currently eating because I don't think that really applies to this particular
I have a water
situation.
bottle because I'm still fighting off a cough and
I have water. I had orange chicken for dinner. If anyone really cares.
I was eating a Tootsie Pop before we started, but I finished it.
So,
I have an
Sour Patch Kids in my.
well, I'm currently not eating.
I've been to a lot of family type gatherings today. There's been a lot of food eaten, and I'm like, I'm done with food for the day.
But the whole point is it's supposed to be kind of a get to know the person who would be blogging this type thing, to get insight on what they're thinking about, what they're doing at that time. So it's kind of a getting to know you type thing. So we're just gonna go through the list and go around. Everyone can give their answer. If it's fandom related, great. If it's not, don't feel like you can't say anything, because not everything that I have as an answer for these is necessarily fandom related. So we're just gonna give it a try and see how it goes. So more than likely, this will probably snowball into tangents more than likely. So anyway,
I'm okay with that.
yeah. And actually, the first one's kind of a doozy. Knowing some of you guys, you probably have multiple answers for this one.
Yeah, I was trying to limit myself. I made a little bit of a list so I knew what I was going to talk about.
Yeah.
So I've got a couple I want to highlight.
Yeah. So first on the list is, what are you currently reading? Which, in my case, technically nothing. I'm still slowly working on last month's book club choice. A deep dive.
I still need to finish.
Yeah. Other than that, I'm not reading much anything.
One of the books for the Read Self-Published that I'm working on, which is Touch by Natalia Jaster. So, yeah.
Okay. Well, I have a couple, which is
I see your guys' Goodreads feed. It's usually,
yeah.
Well, Mark and Outlander, so I could probably get back to that at some point. So I guess it counts as currently reading because I've started it, but I haven't finished.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those ones you kind of have to take piecemeal because it could be.
Yes.
Because it takes a while, and they're very dense, which is good if you're in the mood for it.
I'm probably about halfway through it looks about halfway through, slightly more than halfway. I can see where the bookmark is, and it's about halfway through.
Okay. Oh, right
about
now.
halfway through.
Oh, well, I was just going to say, right now I'm about a fourth of the way through. It's called Soulless by Gail. I will slaughter this last name, but Carriger. Anyway. It's the first book in the Parasol Protectorate series, and
Ooh, I have that on my to be read list.
Yeah, I started reading it a while ago, but I didn't finish it because I was reading like 10 other things at the same time. I was like, I need to cut back on a few things, and that one made the cut. But I was fiddling around on the Overdrive app, which is the library, the way the library lends out ebooks. And I saw that one was available, so I was like, ooh, I will try it again. So I picked it up, and I've gotten a little further this time. Basically, it's about a woman who, and it takes place in Victorian England, London, and it's in a world where the of societies of vampires and werewolves coexist with humans, and they have this I don't know what you call it. I guess government agency sort of thing that keeps tabs on them. A little bit like Torchwood, I guess you would say, or Unit. And this woman, Alexia Tarabati, she's part of that, but she is a preternatural, I think is how you say it, which means she doesn't have a soul. So vampires and werewolves and all these things, they can't hurt her, or if they do, there are severe consequences. And so it's like she has to keep up, but she's also part of a high class family, so she has to keep up appearances, be the doting, well, not really doting, but the good spinster woman of the time, as well as be an agent for this government agency. And right now I'm to the part where the vampire queen has summoned her because there was an incident with a rogue vampire, and she killed it on accident, but because the vampire was attacking her. But she's never been, or she rarely gets attacked by vampires because they know that she's soulless. So if they attack her, like they leave her alone, but she was attacked by this random one that nobody seems to know where they came from. So they're trying to figure this out. That's where I am in the book. And then also, I just discovered this series last night, and apparently it's actually been on the poll for the Doctor Who book club, but I found out about it. Time Lord Ben tweeted us about it, and like, hey, can we read this for the book club? And it was the Aramem series by... So you know how Lethbridge Stewart is being done by Candy Jar Books. This is sort of in the same vein. They're doing a series of Aramem stories by in a company called Thebes Publishing. And if you don't know, Aramem is one of the Big Finish created companions, and she was created for the Fifth Doctor. And so there's a series of audio stories with Perry and Aramem as the companions. And now these books, I haven't started them. I bought the first 4 because there was a sale going on. But these are stories, as I understand it, with Aramem after she is done traveling with the Doctor. So I'm eager to start those when I get a minute. The Last Pharaoh is the name of the first book in the series. So, but if you do a Google search for Thebes, it's Thebes, as in the ancient Greek city, or ancient Egyptian city, I guess I should say, because that's, I think, where Aramem is from originally. But anyway, but that's the name of the publishing. It's a small publishing house, but does these stories. So I'm like, yay, excited for that.
Yep, those will get tossed back up on the list for voting.
Yeah, I was just checking Twitter, and I'm like, how come I not heard these? And Time Lord Ben's all, well, they've been on the poll. And I'm like, oh, that shows how much I pay attention, doesn't it? Oops. So thanks, Time Lord Ben, if you're listening. I now I have a new book series to be obsessively excited about, which is not a bad thing.
I still need to get on the Lethbridge Stewart one.
So and those are the other books I'm reading. I just finished Beast of Fang Rock, which I gushed endlessly over on Goodreads, because when the guys talked about it and they were just like all enamored with it, I'm like, I need to read this one, and I'm like, yep, they're right. This one's awesome.
Anyone else?
Well, oh, sorry.
Jinx.
They're like, ah!
Unfortunately, I haven't had a chance to be reading too many books, which maybe actually is a good thing. I don't know. But the book I'm currently reading is The Dragonfly and Amber, which is the second book in the Outlander series, which
I love that.
about halfway down, I think. Because, I think I'm about halfway. I haven't had a chance to read it like last week or so ago. And then I'm also...
Keep some tissues handy for towards the end.
Oh, I bet. From what I can guess of what's been implied that's happened, will happen, I don't know how to say it in that book.
Based on your other comments in the chat, Brittany, I think you just carry around tissues if you've got the Outlander book.
Yeah.
Use tissues as a bookmark.
Especially since
Yes.
I have this great idea of reading it at breaks during walk. I'm like constantly either
That's a good
crying
time to
or
do it.
blushing.
Oh, that does happen a lot.
Yeah.
Yep.
Or they trying not to curse out loud at certain said characters in books, depending on the situation or scene.
I'm also, I guess, I don't know if this counts, but also at night I tend to read like fan fiction a lot.
Oh, it counts.
That's a
It
given.
counts.
This is reading.
You're reading. Doesn't
Yep.
matter. That's what when I worked at the library, I tell kids, I'm like, what do you like? I don't care if you're reading fanfic or graphic novels, comic books. I don't care what you're reading. Just freaking read. Anyway, I could go on a whole tirade about that, but I won't. We're doing other things.
Well, let's see. I'm reading The Stone Rose. And I'm also reading, you could kind of call it a sequel to Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell. It's Carry On, which is basically kind of the story universe that Fangirls was writing the fanfic on.
Yes, I remember reading Fangirl. I haven't picked up Carry On yet, but Fangirl was a lot of fun. I like Rainbow Rowell stuff.
Started reading Fangirl, but I misplaced my copy. I don't know where it is. Somewhere in here, I think.
And
That's been on my list forever.
Then I'm reading a cozy mystery by M.C. Beaton. It's part of the Hamish Macbeth series. And so far, so good on that one. So those are my top ones out of my good reads.
Cool. Alrighty.
Yep.
I knew you guys would have multiple answers.
Oh yes, you ask us about books and we will talk your ear off about it.
Yeah.
Some of us.
Yeah. Next one is I actually have multiple answers for this one. It shows you where my priorities lie.
Well, I have multiple answers for the next one too.
Yeah.
I think we all could come up with several for this one.
Yeah. Well, that's true. Besides the obvious. Anyway, currently watching, besides the shows that are the odd, like Once Upon a Time, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., those are like absolutely, although because
those are given.
Yeah, I tend to miss Once Upon a Time on Sunday nights because we're either recording or getting ready to record, and I don't want to get sucked in and have to stop. So, but then Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., of course, which I mentioned that a little bit ago, how it's making my heart hurt. But anyway, I'm also trying to work my way through Daredevil season 2. I'm not getting very far quickly with that. I started watching Supergirl. I'm only a couple episodes in, but I'm enjoying it quite a bit. Again, I do not like Cat very much right now. My opinion may change as we get further in, but we'll see. Hopefully I can get Supergirl done before the season finale, or at least not long after the season finale. So hopefully we can discuss Supergirl on the show here shortly. And then
I guess I better get my butt in gear and
Yeah.
actually watch.
Yeah.
I've watched some episodes, but it's one of those that I've let get fall by the wayside just
Yeah.
because it's not easy to get to.
Yeah. And then just for fun and to kind of help me relive my childhood, I started watching Animaniacs, which they just put on Netflix.
That was going to be one of my laughing about, but I'll get to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll get
I
to
gotta
that.
track down the Animaniacs at Woodstock episode. That was the good one.
Yeah.
Oh, it's on there. So
I loved Animaniacs when I was a kid. We had the soundtrack on CD, and my brother and I would just listen to it non-stop. I had I couldn't ever get all the words down for all the countries in the world, but the one for the United States, the one with all the United States, I had that memorized for.
So. When I was in 5th grade, we did like a big program about American history. That was one of the songs we all sang as a 5th grade. Was the states and their capitals, and we'd learn that, and it was so much fun because when we get to Salt Lake City, we'd all shout that out because that was our local thing. And I'm like, but there's no buffalo in Salt Lake, so they got that one wrong. But other than that,
in my case, my where I live is second in the song, so it was always Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Indianapolis, Indiana.
And Columbus is the capital of
Ohio.
Now you got me singing it. Oh, I love that show.
That's what I'm currently watching. That, and we've already done one rewatch of episode 7 now that it's out on digital and DVD. So.
Well, I am watching several things. Like you said, I'm always watching something. All the Arrow, Flash, Legends of Tomorrow. I've got to get back on Supergirl. It's just CBS makes it so difficult to get to. I'm also watching, because Sailor Moon Crystal, the new season of that is out. They're doing the 3rd arc. Because they did the first 2 with the last batch. It's kind of funny because they said that season 1, but they did the 1st and 2nd story arcs with that, and now they're on season 3. Anyway, it's Japan. They number things different, but it's kind of funny because the last, like the first series of it, a lot of the fans were like, "Oh, this looks so awful," because of, I don't know, they didn't like the animation or something. It's mostly the animation style, which I'm like, whatever. It's because the way it's produced, they have to produce it like really fast and on the cheap. So people were all like, after over a decade of having nothing pretty much officially released, and now it's like, hey, we're getting something brand new, and everybody's like, oh, we hate it. And I'm like, that's probably not the attitude to be taking. But I actually liked it. I mean, and I'm not saying that just because to be contrary, or because some of the fans I wanted to punch in the face for their attitude about certain things. But no, I genuinely liked the style that they had, and it was like they had incorporated CGI and into some of the stuff, and it looked really shiny and pretty, and I'm like, this is what I like. And now that with the new series, I'm kind of like, they've gone back to the 2D animation, and I'm like, it looks kind of washed out. And I'm not that impressed with the theme song that they picked, because the first series is a song called Moon Pride, which is like all loud, well, not loud, but like it's bombastic and happy and like really strong, and we're awesome and we're superheroes and all these things. And now this one's sort of like soft and fluffy and like very, very whispery, and I'm kind of like, eh. And it's not to say that I know I sound like I'm dogging on it, but I mean, I'm glad that we have it, and I think it'll pick up a little bit as we go along. It's just, I was used to a certain way of doing things, and now they changed it. So I'm kind of like, okay, this is something I have to get used to. And it doesn't help that this 3rd arc, again, I have the unpopular opinion. This one is not necessarily my favorite of the arcs from the manga, because when I read, so I saw the first 4 seasons that were on American TV back in the 90s, and they didn't do the 5th one because reasons. And when I finally got around to reading the manga, the first and second arcs were really good because I felt like they were different enough from the anime. The third one, I felt like it was the closest to the anime that we got, and the fourth is just way different because the anime just did not know what they were doing with that manga arc. So the third one of the manga was the one I was kind of like, okay, I've seen this one, let's get on to something else. Even though it is different, but it was less different, if that makes sense. So where Crystal is doing a more strict adaptation of the manga, now this is back to this arc where I'm like, okay, we've had this in the original 90s anime. I'm like, yeah, I'll enjoy it and I'll watch it. It's just not what I'm really looking forward to. What I'm really looking forward to is when they get to that fourth arc, because I love the fourth arc in the manga. The original anime, not so much. But in if they think if they're going to do what I think they're going to do with it, I am very excited. So I'm like, I'm going to watch Sailor Moon Crystal, this one, even though I'm kind of like not as excited about the first even though I'm not as excited about it as I was the first one, because I want to get to the next one, if that makes sense. So that's, and I'm still working my way through Star Trek DS9, very slowly, because we've been doing other things, and we've been sick, and work's been crazy, but we're getting there. Although last night I finally got I finally got Jared to watch Empty Child and the Doctor Dances, because he'd never seen that episode before. And he loved it, although he was kind of confused, because he's like, where does Captain Jack, like, where are we in his timeline? I'm like, this is his first introduction. This is the first time we've ever seen him. Like, okay. Because he's seen, I think most of Torchwood, if not all of it. I would have to ask. But, so, yeah. So there was that. That's what I'm watching. Or was. And I'm watching iZombie, which is a lot of fun.
Besides the new shows, I've been kind of going back and rewatching some older fandoms, Leverage, Numbers, Highlander the series, Forever Night. So it's just kind of like, yeah, it's like, oh, hi old fandoms I haven't seen in a while.
Yeah.
Let me pull out those DVDs.
I have missed you.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, show how much have I missed the, yeah. Nostalgia.
Always.
Mm-hmm.
Who's next?
I guess I'll go. It's all Holly's fault, but I started Numbers.
I love that you're watching Numbers. Oh.
Just started like Thursday, and
she's almost done with season 1, but that was a short. That was a short introductory season.
Yeah. That'll make it so much better when we do go back into the actor archive, because Judd Hirsch is in there. So
Yes. It's like, yay! People know how to talk about him.
Yay!
And I have noticed something about him in the shows and movies that he's in. Mm-hmm. It's like little, like, I don't know if it's like Easter eggy thingy or something, but I noticed that he like, it seems like he plays chess and everything. Hey. And I'm also been rewatching Post of Interest to get ready for the new season when it comes back next month. I'm also still slowly walking through like Jessica Jones and the second Daredevil season. Stupid walk.
Yeah.
I have to walk to pay to pay for Netflix and cable, but I don't want to walk because it messes with my time to watch those shows.
Yeah. It's a catch-22.
Yeah. Yep.
And then, of course, the usual.
Yeah,
like, we all have our usual. Once upon a time.
Yeah,
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
We do.
If Doctor Who was on, it'd be Doctor Who.
Well, which Doctor Who won't be on for several,
Yeah.
for a year at least.
Yeah.
About a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Until Christmas.
Easter Saturday.
Easter Saturday.
Easter Saturday.
Easter Saturday 2017.
This past Easter Saturday. Like, this time next year.
Maybe. Everybody go?
No.
Nope. Okay.
Well, do you want me to list all the cringe, the stuff that I'm watching, like on, like, or just the stuff like Enterprise?
Why don't you touch on the highlights, the stuff that you're really enjoying right now?
Hit the highlights.
Well, I started watching Gilmore Girls.
Yeah, I heard they're doing a reboot. Yeah, I said
the first time I watched Gilmore Girls, I skipped the first season because Milo Ventimiglia, who played Peter Petrelli in Heroes, was in the second season, so I started with when he joined. And then a couple days ago, I started watching from the beginning. Like, why did I skip the first season? This is comedy gold.
Yeah, because he's coming back for the
I know he's
reunion
coming
thing.
back for the new Gilmore Girls. So, let's see, Gilmore Girls, Enterprise, previously mentioned Orphan Black rewatch. Let's check my track wrap for all my current stuff. So, Once Upon a Time, Elementary, Supergirl, The Flash, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Arrow, Legends of Tomorrow. I still need to get caught up on the Shannara Chronicles. Lucifer, and then Orphan Black is coming back with a new season on the 14th. So, I think that's everything.
Cool. How you guys still manage to read on top of watching all that? I have no idea.
Well, I can explain.
Commercial breaks.
I can explain.
Yeah, commercial breaks.
Well, my job, I mean, a lot of it, like in the morning, is a lot of writing and researching, but there's part of it where it also involves a lot of waiting for people to send me things. So that's what I do when I'm waiting in my downtime, when I'm still working, but I can't do anything until I get something from somebody else. So I either read or I watch something, or I clean the house.
Yeah, I have an office job. I can't do that.
Yeah, I realize my job is quite unique in that way, but
Yeah.
so I take advantage of it.
Yeah. Alrighty. Next in the list, currently anticipating, which short term, it depends on how you look at it. Short term, Civil War.
Yes, I
Yeah.
have that down too.
Yeah.
But that's same here, but
yeah.
that's kind of like, if you just took that out of context, I'm currently anticipating Civil War. That kind of sounds kind of scary.
Well, yeah, just a little.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Captain America.
Civil
I
War.
got my dad.
That's what it is.
I got my dad the first 6 Star Wars movies for his birthday.
Nice.
So, and we're making plans to rewatch them before the new movie comes out in July.
Ugh.
So,
Ugh.
looking to that.
Excuse me. So, yeah. So at the moment, I'm like, Civil War, Civil War, Civil War. Slightly longer term. Well, no, longer term. Probably PopCon. That's like what I'm most excited about coming up in a reasonable amount of time. So mid-June. So a couple months till PopCon. So I'm excited excited for that. And of course, all the other 5 bazillion movies and things due to come out this year. Doctor Strange, next Star Wars movie, other conventions later down the road, family vacations, that sort of thing. But
I feel like I've cashed in all my anticipation last year with getting married and stuff.
you got married and met Peter Davison within the span of like 3 months of this year. You're good.
How do I top that? But no, we are planning. Like I mentioned earlier, was one of our Utah convention-ish sort of things that we have is the Shakespeare Festival down at Southern Utah University. That thing's been going on for decades. I don't even know how long by now.
Shakespeare started it.
Yeah. Yeah, probably. But yeah, it's always been a thing. I've always wanted to go, and I've never gone. Well, Jared's family it's sort of a tradition of theirs, and they go like late July, and Jared was all, and they went last year. I did not go because, you have to get tickets way in advance. But this year he's like, "You're going, right?" And I'm like, "Yes." So in the middle of the midsummer, if all goes well, I'm going to the Shakespeare Festival. So yay! And then obviously Comic-Con in September. We're already planning our cosplays for that. This is so the first day of Fan X, we were driving to Comic-Con. I was in my doctor costume and he was in his master costume, and he started thinking, could I do a gender swap Missy?
Yes.
Yeah. And I was like, and I was like, well, I guess you could. And he was like starting to look up things. Like we're on the car already in our going to Comic-Con already, and he's on his phone looking up what can I find to do like a purple Missy, male Missy thing. And he's like, and you could do the 12th Doctor. How hard is that for you? And I'm like, I don't think it'd be that hard.
Welcome to cosplay, Jared.
Oh no, he's done this a lot. He's done this
the more you do it, the worse it gets. You start coming up with ideas of like gender bent and cross plays and mixed fandoms, and it's like,
yeah. And I think it was just like because we were in our doctor. I was in my doctor. He was in the master costume, and he's just like, "Do you want to do the 12th Doctor, female 12?" And I was like, "Sure, I think I could pull that off somehow. Shouldn't be too hard." So
thrift stores.
Yes. Although I do have a black coat. I could just pin some red lining in it or something.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be.
Get some Sonic shades.
Well, I mean, the whole point of Peter Capaldi wanted his costume to be easy for fans to cosplay. So and it is, I guess you're saying it is, so.
Yeah, well, because on the way there, I was even thinking, like, what do I have in my closet already? And I'm like, honestly, I think I have everything. Some of it I'd have to adjust a little bit, but it wouldn't be that difficult.
Nope.
So thank you, Peter Capaldi.
Unlike your doctor and my doctor, whose costumes are not as easy to cosplay.
have to go on basically a treasure hunt in the fabric store, trying to find all the.
That's a discussion where we're gonna discuss cosplay on a future episode.
Yeah, we'll get there, and I will have much to say.
Yeah.
Maybe not as much as some people who do this like all the time and who are awesome at it, but I'll have things to say.
Yeah. Anyway, back on topic.
Back on topic. What else is everybody looking forward to?
Most of the stuff I'm looking forward to, I'm not even sure if I can go. Like, there's, like, I want to go to
Dream Big.
Yeah.
I want to go to the Heroes and Villains Con and the New York, New Jersey Comic Con, and I guess it's still geeky. I really, really want to go to the Elton John concert. I tried calling in for the contest in my local classic rock station. I didn't get in, though.
Aww.
Keep trying.
I'm dreaming big too. I'm kind of anticipating. Paul McCartney's going to be playing Summerfest in July. Tickets go on sale this coming Friday.
Oh, Go,
So you gotta have your
go,
finger on the button.
go. I've seen
Yeah.
Paul McCartney 3 times.
I've seen him once.
Oh, he's amazing.
Yes, he is. Because I saw him at the old Milwaukee County Stadium.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you can get tickets, go. You will not regret it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's worth every penny.
Mm-hmm. So, we'll see.
Yeah. Anyone have anything else? Looking forward to? Movies? Book releases? Something?
Well, I'm excited for a whole bunch of movies. Pretty much the same all you guys are excited for. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are, just now that I'm trying to think of them specifically, I can't think of them.
Yeah.
Well, how about this for really short term? I'm anticipating seeing the Jungle Book next weekend.
Yeah.
Oh, right, Jungle Book's coming out.
Yep.
That actually looks pretty good.
My sister's baby, which is coming in, she's doing September 23rd. So
Yay, baby.
That's something to be excited about.
Oh, yes.
In somewhat shorter term, waiting for them to find out what the baby is.
Yeah. Which she's going in for an ultrasound at the beginning of May to hopefully find out the sex of the baby.
So that's exciting.
Nice. Yeah, my sister-in-law and my brother, they're having a baby boy in August. I'm not exactly sure of the precise date, but it is August and it is a boy. So, and I will get to see all of them next Sunday. We're going. It's my nephew's birthday, so I'll be going and seeing everybody. So I'm excited about that.
Mm.
So yeah, family, birthdays, graduations. I've got 2 sisters graduating college this year.
Her husband are going to move into they're buying a house, and they're hopefully moving. They should be moving in at the end of July.
Cool.
Fun. So see, those are things to be anticipating as well.
Mm-hmm.
Family type stuff.
Yep. All right. Next is this will be fun. Next is currently laughing about, which at the moment the only thing I really have, it's not necessarily like clutching my sides, rolling on the ground laughing. It's more like aww, and like, that's adorable type laughing. I discovered this YouTube channel. It's actually 2 YouTube channels. It's the same guy who runs both. There's a guy, his name is Ryan, and his channel is Vlogging After College, and it's Life After College, I guess is his website. But he has a dog who's a Pembroke Corgi named Gatsby, and Gatsby also has his own YouTube channel. But Gatsby also appears in most of Ryan's vlogs as well. So it's like Ryan, he seems like a really nice guy, smart, and he's into eating healthy and working out and all that. But the dog is what it's all about. So I've just been like absorbing all of his YouTube videos, or anything after he adopted Gatsby, and I'm like, oh, he's so cute. And then he'll do something that's like adorable, or so he'll do something funny because dogs do. Like he's got this toy that he can drop the little, they're smaller, but they're like tennis balls, and it's got a little motor in it, and it'll launch it across a room. So he's figured out how to drop it in, and he knows it'll launch it, but he hasn't quite figured out that he needs to step back a little. So it goes zooming by his face, and then he's like, oh crap, I gotta take off after it. So it's one of those things that's like, oh, that's adorable at the same time. It's like, oh, he's so funny. I want like 12 of them. So
He's so fluffy.
yeah, I have a slight, I say slight, when I say slight, I mean seriously strong obsession with corgis. And I've got Chauncey hooked on them too. Like, we both follow like multiple corgi related Instagram accounts. And I like them on Facebook as well. So it's like once we're in a situation where we can get a dog, we are getting a corgi.
Nice.
This wouldn't be all because of certain royal ones, would it be?
Well, my childhood dog she was a corgi husky mix.
Oh, okay.
So she essentially looked like a husky, but with a short corgi hair with really short legs.
Oh, cute.
So.
That is so cute.
Yeah, I've always the fact that they're English, well, they're Welsh actually, and yes, a certain member of the royalty has owned like 30 of them, so might have something to do with it. But they're so cute and they're good dogs. They're like really good temperament and they're good with kids. And not that I have kids, but if our nieces and nephews come to visit, that we don't have to worry about. Having a dog that it wouldn't get along with them. So, but and they're just adorable. They're one of those. They're one of those breeds where they're super adorable when they're puppies, but even once they get full grown, they're still super adorable.
Yep.
So that's the thing that I'm kind of like at the moment. I looked at Chauncey and said, "Why did it not occur to me to find someone on YouTube who owned a corgi so I could just watch?"
That's always fun. It's like someone will like I had that a couple weeks ago where someone posted a really cute picture of a piglet, and I grew up on a farm, and when I was younger we had pigs, and I remember the little baby piglets and how cute they were, but you couldn't get too close to them when they were little because the mamas were so mean, and they were just like I could only hold one if my dad went and got one, risking life and limb.
Yeah.
Because you don't think so, but pigs are just, they can get violent.
Mm-hmm.
But he would sometimes, if they were, the mom was laying down or distracted, he'd get one and come let me hold it, and you were so cute. Then they grow up and they're ugly, so then I don't feel I don't feel bad about eating bacon.
Yeah.
They grow up and they're old and ugly and mean, but when they're little they're cute. So like I'd go find like videos of baby piglets. They were so cute. But my thing that I'm laughing about, and Rachel, you brought this up a little earlier, was Animaniacs is on Netflix, and yesterday, the last couple of days I thought I was over my secondhand con crud. Apparently I'm not. I still have a bit of a stuffy nose, and I've had a cough really bad. It's been a bad cough for the last couple of days, and yesterday I didn't have to work. Jared had to work, so I just stayed home, and I watched Animaniacs basically all morning, and I was just, I love that show. Like and it was bad because I would laugh, and then I'd start coughing, but it was okay because it's Animaniacs, and like that was the one show that all of I've got 4 younger siblings. That was one show we could all agree on that we all loved, and like we would pretend like I would be Yakko because I'm the oldest. My brother's kind of a goofy, kind of dorky kid. Well, he was. He's better now that he's an adult, but back then, so he was Wacko, and then my sister was, she's the cute little sister, so she's Dot. Although she's actually older than my brother, so it doesn't quite work, but she was Dot. And then we would go through and like assign, okay, who's mom and dad? Like dad was the CEO. I think we said mom was Hello Nurse. My other younger sister was Mindy, and one of them was and as I have 2 younger sisters after them, so there was Mindy was one of them. The other one was probably Skippy. No, Mom was Slappy Squirrel. Because when she'd get mad at us, she was Slappy Squirrel. And we just go through and just assign like who of our family were all the different characters in Animaniacs. It was just some goofy thing we did. Plus, we had the video game that it was like we weren't playing to beat it. We were just playing because it was funny to watch all the funny little animations in the background and all the stupid things that would happen because it's Animaniacs and you just love it. And so I'm watching it from on Netflix where they have it from beginning to end, and I'm sitting there like I remember that episode. I remember that one and that one, and I actually got a little confused because there's one of the Goodfeathers cartoons where like they spoof a musical, and they sing about, because they have a statue in the park of Martin Scorsese that the Goodfeathers like to perch on, and it's kind of And then later in the episode, the statue gets replaced by one of Reach's Philbin, and they all freak out. And I got confused because I was watching the cartoon that was based on West Side Story, and I thought that was the one with the statue. But it has the statue, but it's not the one I was thinking of. It's actually the spoof of Fiddler on the... I love this show. I missed it, and I'm glad it's on Netflix again.
And now that we're older, some of the humor won't go like over our heads. Like now that I'm older, the Good Feathers, Goodfellas, you know.
Well, like
Joe Pesci.
even when I was little, and I would get like the potty humor of it. And then there were some times when I realized there was a joke being told, but I didn't understand what the joke was. And now that I'm older, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's a terrible joke, but it's funny. And I'm not like, I'm just like, I'm older now, and now I'm old enough to understand what the joke was. So it's like, so I'm just, So it was just one of those that you could, like, I even think kids today, even though it's 20 years old, I think even kids today would enjoy it. Just because, there's a lot of pop culture references. I mean, good grief, Bill Clinton is in the title sequence. But it's like, I think people would still understand what's funny about it. And, those of us who grew up with some of those pop culture references... Although it is funny to see Dot moon over Mel Gibson now.
Yeah.
I'm like, that wouldn't happen now. But at the time, yes, it made sense. But anyway, yes, Animaniacs, one of the best shows ever.
Yeah. Who else has got something funny?
I was laughing at the Animaniacs. I'm laughing at what Mark Hamill posted on Instagram.
Right.
The Jedi training. And then I came across the GIF from Age of Ultron with Captain breaking apart the wood. And Tony kind of looking, and then Groot's shocked expression of Captain tearing apart that piece of wood. So those are my laughing highlights.
Yeah. Pretty much just go look at Robert Downey Jr.'s page and you're bound to find something that's going to make you bust a gut.
Oh, yes.
Yep.
That's mostly why I follow him. Not because I'm, interested in specifically what he's doing with his life, although that is fun to see from time to time, but he just posts the funniest things.
Yeah. And of course there's the gif of Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange, just jumping, running and jumping through everything.
Yep. Oh, and when he went to the comic book store in costume and bought a Doctor
Strange comic book.
Yes. And it's just like, this is the world we live in now. Yep. This is cool. This is cool for him to do that.
Yeah. When the world gets you down, just turn to the folks in the Marvel franchises. You're bound to get cheered up.
Yep. Yep. They'll get it.
No.
You'll be just fine.
Yeah.
What I'm laughing about is this YouTube channel. It's called The Runaway Guys, and basically 3 guys with occasionally guests sit down and just play games together. They can only meet every once in a while because they live far away from each other like we do. Like, one lives in Florida, one lives in Canada, the other one lives Midwest, I think. So they meet up at gaming cons, and they've been posting they do a lot of Nintendo, and they're doing the Mario Party games, and I laugh so hard at them because they because it's so fun seeing how competitive they are, and they insult each other, but you can tell they're really good friends, and I don't know, this makes me laugh. And I try not to watch them too late because I wake up my grandparents, but I do.
Smart thinking.
Yeah. That's another reason why to get my own place again.
Yeah. Well, something I was laughing about earlier today is we were doing devotions after lunch, and my dad was reading the Bible, and he needed glasses for reading, and he got his glasses, and like he looks like an Opa because he wants to be called Opa when my sister's baby is born.
Yeah.
And he looks like an Opa. Man boy, and my mom was like, "Yeah, he does." And then he did like this old man voice, pretending he hadn't heard us, like he hadn't heard what we said. And then I just, yeah. So
It is funny when one of your siblings has kids, and then you realize your parents are grandparents now.
Yeah.
They're grandma or papa or opa or whatever.
His reading glasses, they look like the kind of glasses a grandparent would wear.
Oh yeah, first time my dad wore his grandpa glasses, I was just like, oh my gosh, my dad's a grandpa now. That's not. It wasn't when my niece was born that it happened. It was after she was born, and I was like, yeah, my dad's old.
My sister's baby hasn't even been born yet, and my dad already looks like a grandpa.
He's getting ready for it.
When he wears his glasses. So he doesn't wear. He only wears them like if he needs them to read. But yeah, my dad's gonna be an Opa, and he looks the part, at least when he wears his glasses. That's what I was happy about earlier today.
Hey, it works.
All right. Next is currently listening to, which I'm not really listening to anything specific. I'm trying to keep up on podcasts, and I'm failing miserably. But mostly, if I'm at work, I like to have background noise because otherwise it's just silent other than keyboards clacking for the most part. So I take my iPad with me to work, and I have the iHeartRadio app. Mm-hmm. And the only station I listen to is just the Beatles, and it works just like Pandora, so you can thumbs up, thumbs down, skip songs. It only allows you to skip so many during a session, just like Pandora. I started with the Beatles, and then from there, based on your thumbs up and thumbs down, it'll aggregate more, so I get a nice collection of the Beatles and the Rolling Stones and the Eagles and the Monkees and all of that. But so I've pretty much been listening to that nonstop for months, although I've been listening to this channel, and for the most part I just let it play, but when I do think about it, I'll hit a thumbs up if it's a song I really like. But no matter how many times, and no offense to anyone who's a fan, but it doesn't seem to matter how many times I thumbs down a song by Creedence Clearwater Revival, they still keep popping up. It's like, it hasn't quite figured out that every time I thumbs down a song from CCR, I don't want to hear CCR. I so want to
maybe the thumbs down is actually just, it doesn't actually work that way. It just, I don't know.
Apparently not.
It just says, okay, your dislike has been noted. We're going to ignore it.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. But most of the time, it's good. So a lot of Beatles, David Bowie, and Elton John, and all that. So it's all the music I like to listen to.
The good stuff.
Yeah, it makes really good background noise while at work, answering emails and doing paperwork and all that fun stuff. So, but otherwise, I'm not really listening to anything in particular. So.
Well, I have been working my way through the Big Finish. Well, it's a box set, but I have the digital version. The Diary of River Song. And it's taking me longer to get through this one because I don't have a commute anymore. Because it used to be that, like, I would have, anywhere from 10 to 30 minutes of commute to go, so I could listen to Big Finish and podcasts and stuff. But now, so it's just like going to the grocery store or something, and I'll put in a Big Finish on my iPhone. And so I've been listening to River Song, the Diary of River Song, the Big Finish production, and it is. This is the first time I've really had any of the new Who offerings from Big Finish. The first time I've ever listened to one of them. And I don't know what I was expecting. I was expecting it to be good, and I figured I would enjoy it, because I like all of what Big Finish has done. But it's just kind of fun to realize, oh, they could do more River Song stuff. Like, I mean, I knew they were doing it, but until I listened to it, it didn't really feel real yet. And I'm really not sure how much I want to say, because I don't want to spoil anybody on it, because it is still relatively new. But it's like it's all the adventures that she gets up to, and it's fun because, okay, I'll say this, because you know how River is. She's very competent. She's very independent. She can do pretty much anything the Doctor can do, and probably in some respects do it better. But she's not just the whole, I'm River Song, I can do everything, and I don't need anybody's help, blah, blah, blah. Like, that's not what it is from start to finish. You get a lot of that, but you also get, some, the sense of, sadness and loss that she feels in her life, and kind of, making her that well-rounded character that the new series really did well with her when all was said and done. So I feel like River Song over at Big Finish, it's they're doing the character justice, like they have all the other Doctor Who related characters and different spin-offs and things. And yeah, it's a really enjoyable, like you get the sassy and snarky, sarcastic River that we all love, but then you also get kind of when she has, I mean, it's called the Diary of River Song, so she narrates parts of it like she's writing in her diary. And so there are some things that are like she meets a man in one of the stories who says he's the Doctor, he's really not, and she's kind of like, thinking about her Doctor and what he's doing and where he is, and how long it's been since she's seen him, and certain things like that. So it's more of River Song, which can never be a bad thing. So that's the main thing I'm listening to, other than, catching up on podcasts and stuff like that.
With me, yeah, kind of keeping up on podcasts, and then what I have found is the audiobook version of Outlander, just to hear it read to you, and Davina Porter does such a good job. So if you can find it, check it out. It's fantastic. And then listening to some soundtracks. So that's basically what I've been listening to.
Yeah, I'll listen to the Fallout 4 soundtrack while I'm working. Not the 50s bubblegum pop songs, but the score. And oh my gosh, that is like just so. I mean, considering what Fallout's about, that it's about basically the end of the world and how people pick up after that. It's very haunting, but still very beautiful, and I love it. And it's perfect for listening to at work.
I'm not listening to anything specific, really. Like, I'm so far behind on like majority of my podcasts that I have like months, if not years, of how bad I am. I think there's like one or two I'm still caught up on, but I'm just basically all I'm really listening to is my soundtracks. About it, and whatever background music is on when I'm doing other stuff. Mm-hmm. Nothing fun there.
Yeah, I'm really behind on my podcasts, and I haven't actually been getting caught up on them at work like I usually do, because I've been feeling more like listening to music.
Mm-hmm.
But something that I've been kind of a nostalgia thing because I just got this old Avril Lavigne album from 2002 that I just bought on iTunes and started listening to again. So
That was fun listening to like 90s and early 2000s, like during my childhood, like, aww.
Yeah.
Like,
When you said
recently, I got really I used to have it on this album on CD, and I got really nostalgic for it. So I looked it up on iTunes, and I bought it, and I listened, and I've been listening to that. So
now that you say that, I'm like, I remember buying her first album when I was in high school, and I'm like, wow, I probably still have that CD somewhere. That was 2002. That was a long time ago. I am so old.
Like, you were in high school, I was in middle school.
This is like formative stuff.
Yes. It's like, I remember where I was and when I listened to all that and how mad I was that she didn't win the Grammy, like Norah Jones beat her out for it. And my sister was like, why does it matter to you that she lost? It's like, it doesn't. She's kind of being real snippy about it with me that she lost the award. And I was like, shut up, you don't know anything about it. And now that I look back, I'm like, it was probably okay. Just at the time, I was indignant because I liked it so much. That was before I realized that I don't need to pay attention to award shows because none of it matters anyway. Anyway.
Yeah, well, when I was in GEMS, I went to like this Get Connected camp, like, and so it was like GEMS girls from all over North America, and my counsel, like the cabin counselor of the cabin I was staying in had actually gone to school with Avril Lavigne.
Wow.
Excuse me.
Before she had dropped out to make music.
Yeah.
So that was fun.
All right. Next is currently working on, which for me is just trying to keep up on. Obviously the podcast. I'm always constantly working on that. We all are. Trying to.
Oh yes.
Trying to keep up on the news and figuring out topics and all that, and then obviously working on my own work. But for fun, working on. I'm backlogged on footage for my own personal YouTube channel, trying to get that edited and up, and then cosplays. That's about the other big thing on my plate at the moment is cosplays. So I wasn't planning on really making anything else this year, but I came up with an idea, and that snowballed into 3 different versions of the same idea.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, so I'm gonna start with one and see how it goes, and then if I don't hate myself, then I'll make the other 2 versions as well.
That's the hard part about cosplaying is you see something, you have an idea, and you're like, I can do that, and then you get started, and then you realize how much work it is, and then you like force yourself to finish it. But then when it's done, you're like, I feel so accomplished.
Yeah, well, I haven't quite hit that yet. Even with as much work as my Sixth Doctor cosplay was, because we took so long, so it never felt like, oh my goodness, when are we going to be done with this? But my problem is I come up with an idea and then I come up with like 6 other variations of the same idea, and I can't pick just one. I have to do them all. But you have to start with one. You got to do one of them first. It's like, which one do I do first? Yeah. Again, we'll discuss cosplay on a separate episode, but it's like a drug. You get into it, it's just, ugh. Especially the more fandoms you have, that makes it worse.
Yes. Well,
Yeah,
it's like
I've had the idea for doing a Peter Fratelli cosplay in the back of my head for a while now, but I don't know if that's ever gonna get done.
Just make a list, and I have a list that's growing exponentially, and this like ones that like I could get to sooner rather than later. A lot of it depends on how complicated they are. The ones that are way more complicated, like I'll get to that eventually.
the ones that I'm like, oh, I already have some of that in my closet. I'm like, those are the ones that I feel like take me the longest, just because, like, okay, I'll get all this stuff together. Okay, now I need all these little detail type of things. Oh, I really should buy a new blouse because I need one, and this one doesn't look very good. Or, I should get different shoes, even though I have a pair, but they're kind of beat up. And and then you just kind of snowballs from there. And I justify it because I'm like, well, most of this I already own, so I'm really not spending that much money on it anyway. In reality, yes, you are. Yes. That's the funny part of it. As far as working on things, I feel like my main job keeps me so busy, and then I read and watch shows to relax. But one thing I have started, and you've probably seen these, is those grown-up coloring books that they have now.
Uh-huh.
I bought one because I was like, okay, I'm gonna see.
I bought the Doctor Who. I bought a Doctor Who coloring book and a set of pencil crayons, and I've only colored like a TARDIS so far. But I have it.
I don't have the Doctor Who one, although
the Doctor Who one is so cool.
I did see it at FanX, and I thought about buying it there. I should get it, but I have just one I saw I was at the grocery store.
Pencil crayons so I could like do coloring, and I was initially going to be like, I'll just download some pictures off on from the internet and print them out and color those. But then I got it from a bookstore, Kohl's, and I'm like. And they had a bunch of the adult coloring books. I'm like, well, if they had the Doctor Who ones, I don't think I'm going to be able to resist them. They have it, and I bought it, and yeah.
I will have to get the Doctor Who one. I just have this little flimsy, cheapy one. It's like $5 at the grocery store checkout line. Oh, I'll do this. So yesterday, while I ran some errands yesterday in between, coughing and feeling like I was not going to die, but not feeling very great. But I came home and watched Animaniacs and colored some of it, and I already had some colored pencils sitting here at home, and it was funny because last weekend I went to my in-laws. We go there for Sunday dinner, and my mother-in-law, she had a knee surgery a couple months ago, like right after our wedding, and so she's been home since then, like getting resting up and getting better before she has to go to work. And so I guess my sister-in-law got her one, and my sister-in-law bought one for her. And she was all like, they were comparing how much they'd done, and I was like, you guys have those? And, because it's hard to describe. It's like, I wouldn't peg my sister-in-law as having one of those coloring books, and I was just like, oh, well, okay, you guys have them, and it kind of like didn't really give me permission to get one, but it just sort of inspired me more to get one, and I just have the little one. But now I'm like, I should get the Doctor Who one because I've seen I saw it and I was gonna get it, but I was like, I was iffy on it, so I didn't get it yet. But I'm like, I think I should get it.
Yeah. And there is an outlander one.
I resisted buying it for a while because I've seen it in a few places. I'm like, I don't know. And then I was getting the pencil crayons, and there was the Doctor Who coloring book, like, not too far away, and I'm like, okay.
And you're like, okay, fine. There it is. It's calling to me.
It's there. I I'm getting the pencil crayons. Okay.
Yep. And the other thing I'm working on, which is going very slowly because I can only do like 10 at a time before my hand starts cramping up, is writing thank you notes for all the people who sent us gifts for our wedding. And I have to do all this because Jared's handwriting is not very good, and he'll be the first one to tell you that. So, yes. So, if any of you listeners, I think a few people sent us gifts that I have not gotten thanks to them. They're coming. I haven't forgotten about it. I'm just very slow going. I think I might make him put stamps on everything, though.
What I'm currently working on, couldn't tell really, is my blog. Like, I have so many, so many ideas, and I have them all written down, like literally written down in my physical notebook, and also in my Word document thingy on the computer. Just haven't had a chance to look through all of them and actually post them. So I haven't abandoned my blog, but just
sometimes you just kind of get things kind of end up on the back burner. It's just how it happens.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of let things go for a while, but then then the new story arc of Once Upon a Time started, and I'm like, okay, I need to write about this. So I did.
Yeah, working on kind of rearranging bookshelves and then going through some of my old computer files and looking at those and seeing, do I want to keep this or do I want to get rid of it? So, and older writing.
I mean, that's always a fun task, going through all your files on your computers and reorganizing them and deleting. So I'm as bad as my files I am with my physical stuff. Like, I don't want to get rid of it. I'm such a hoarder.
I know.
Yeah, I have that problem
where
too.
Where else can I move this to still hang on to it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still have room.
Until eventually you finally just say, oh, fine, I'll just throw it away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it takes a while to get to the final just throw it away point.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. I will grant you that. It always seems like there's some
and
project.
most of it's those things that I might be able to use this eventually, and it's been this long and you haven't used it. I think it's time to get rid of it.
You know what was funny is as we were leaving Jared's parents' house today, there was an old TV sitting out by the trash on the curb, and Jared looks at it like, oh, my dad finally got rid of that, and I was like, and he kind of told me, yeah, my dad doesn't. He's like, my dad doesn't get rid of anything. And he's like, they used to save magnets from speakers, and he. I was like, why do you keep? He's like, oh, because he might come in handy someday. Did they ever? And he's like, no. Yes.
It might come in handy, and after a while of it going for months or years without it coming handy, you finally have to admit obediently, this is not going to come in handy.
Yeah.
Just throw it out or let someone else have it.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Send it to Goodwill or whatever thrift stores in your area, because that's how my grandmother was, and when she and my grandpa died, and we were cleaning out their house, it was like, there is so much stuff here, and not all of it was any good. Of course, she grew up in the Great Depression, so it's understandable on her part.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, yeah, we took a lot of stuff to thrift stores.
Yeah.
And some we just outright threw away.
Alrighty, and last, but certainly not least, this will be interesting. This one's a little less tangible, I guess, but currently wishing, which, thinking about it, it's like, it's like pie in the sky, and then also, the more practical, I guess, and I guess for me, honestly, I'm just wishing that, that my friends and family who have life changes coming up in the near future, that everything works out as to the best the best potential outcome. I know people that are starting businesses. I know people that are changing jobs and moving, and people getting married, and with those things come uncertain futures. You just don't know how things are going to pan out, and I just hope that all the people near and dear to me, that everything works out for the best.
Yep. Yeah, and this like you said, like I mentioned earlier, my brother and his wife are expecting a baby, and you just kind of, hoping, wishing, praying that everything goes well, and that it's all good, and best you can hope for. So, and then there's also the whole I wish I was at Disneyland sort of thing.
Well, yes, there's always that.
That's always a given.
I wish it was summer all year round, and I wish that I could teleport myself to a Disney park at any time that I need, felt like darn like it, but.
When you're having a bad day, you're like, man, I bet you if I was at Disney, I wouldn't be having a bad day.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, just being able to teleport in general would be good.
Oh yeah, you could teleport wherever you wanted.
I mean, Disneyland, yes. If I could teleport, Disneyland would definitely be a destination, but even just in general, like, just going about my daily life, and it's like, I wish I could teleport. That, like, if I could teleport, I'd be at this place that I'm going to now.
Or if you had a TARDIS, you could be in two places at once, or multiple. Maybe, I don't know. I'm sure there's a rule about that. But
if places are sufficiently far apart,
yes, that would work. You can make it work.
Yeah.
Make it work. Yeah.
Who else?
It's kind of full. It's like all of it.
Well, I've got a couple of friends who are switching jobs, and so I'm wishing them the best. So.
Warm fuzzies.
Wishing's kind of a tough one to come up with, because you're sort of like you could, when you're a little kid, you're like, well, I wish for a pony, or something like that.
Yeah.
But when you're older, you're just kind of like, just wish everybody, wish and hope all my friends or family are doing well.
And Benedict Cumberbatch wanted to appear on my front doorstep and say, hey, want to come to the red carpet premiere of Doctor Strange? That wouldn't hurt my feelings either. But
yeah.
Not likely to happen.
Yeah.
Someone having a safe move to their new location, that's more likely to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Healthy babies.
Yeah.
Well, I could also wish that Funko Pop had a Fifth Doctor figure.
Well, yeah. All of the doctors. They need to have all.
They need to have all the doctors. Yeah. I mean, they have a variant of the Ninth Doctor, for crying out loud. I'm like, why can't you get the other doctors? before you start doing variants of the others.
No, I signed up for Nerd Block's sci-fi blog, and I got a Funko Pop 11th Doctor with like the bobblehead one.
Nice.
Uh-huh. Those are fun. Although I did get a River Song and a Sarah Jane at Comic-Con. I feel like those were my big purchases, other than, getting a picture with Peter Davison and his autograph. Yeah.
Well, we'll leave it on the warm fuzzies then.
Yes.
Yes.
We love all our friends and family, and we love our listeners. Speaking of listeners, if any of our wonderful listeners want to chime in with their thoughts on this topic, if you liked this topic, or this not really a topic, but just sort of way of talking about various different things that we're enjoying, please leave us, or if you thought it was dumb, please leave us a comment, or send us an email, send us feedback. Our email address is fiveishfangirls@gmail.com, and the way you spell Fiveish, I realize that could be a little odd for some people. It's Fiveish, and fangirls, just as it sounds, @gmail.com. That's our email address. You can also find ways to communicate with us at our website, the fiveishfangirlspodcast.blogspot.com. And you will find links to all of our social media pages, Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, Pinterest, Instagram, YouTube, iTunes, and our Patreon account, which, again, we are very appreciative of our Patreon subscribers. We cannot do this without you, and we are grateful that you are kind enough or that you enjoy us enough even to spend a little bit of your hard-earned money to support us, and we cannot thank you enough for that. And if any of our newer listeners, or if you want to help support the podcast, if you enjoy what you hear here, then consider subscribing to us on Patreon, and we appreciate that as well. And leave us some feedback if you want, and we'll read it out on the podcast. And we also have the Traveling the Vortex Doctor Who book club on Goodreads, so that's sort of a collaboration with us and the Vortex Boys, which we thoroughly enjoy. And so check us out there. It's free to join. I was listening to one of the Traveling the Vortex episodes, and that was a big sticking point with Sean. It's like, it's free, and I'm like, most social media is, but I'm glad you qualified.
There's free, and then there's freemium.
Yes, that is true.
Wow.
That is true. But it's like I call Goodreads Facebook for book lovers, because actually my friend Leanne, who she's recently started listening. So hi, Leanne. She's in my D&D group. She was the other. So she doesn't have Facebook, but she has Goodreads. And so we bond over like books and different things that we enjoy.
Hey, yeah.
So she's awesome, and I love her. And when she heard I did a podcast, she was like, "Oh, what is it?" And I gave her the website. So hi, Leanne, if you're listening. I hope you are.
Welcome
She's
to the
a
Nut
dear.
House.
Anyway, but yeah, that's where you can find us on the interwebs. And we do a lot more on Facebook, just because it's, well, from my point of view, it's a little easier because I'm actually on Facebook for most of the day because I have to do it for work.
Well, and there's just some stuff that just it's easiest just to share. You know, Robert Downey Jr. posts something funny. It's easier to repost it.
Yep. Or there's a video, or early in the week I shared a Kickstarter from James A. Owen is an author, and I think it actually funded. But I threw that up on our Facebook page. It had like less than 24 hours to go, and I was like, I just found out about this. If any of our listeners are interested, it was for a set of set of books about one of his presentations that he does. He's usually a fantasy author, but he also uses his fantasy stories to do like motivational speaking and stuff like that. So he compiled them in books, and he wanted to do the Kickstarter was about making the books like available in hardcover with the nice illustrations, and because ebooks are fun, but having an actual book in your hand, there's just that will never go away, no matter what technology does. Ebook or hard copy books will just always be there. Anyway, that was my point of that. Was I put that on Facebook just to be like, here, if anyone's interested, go support this thing. It was a quick way to get that out there to our listeners.
Yep.
That follow us on Facebook.
Cool. All right. Well, with that, I guess we will sign off for this week.
This is Brittany and Douglas saying goodnight.
This is Chrissy in Salt Lake City saying goodnight.
Live from Wisconsin saying good evening.
Mitch saying goodnight from Kitchener, Ontario.
And this is Rachel in Indianapolis, Indiana. That should be our unofficial tagline on Facebook. Fiveish Fangirls on Facebook. Sharing things from Robert Downey Jr. because that man is a troll. Been listening to the Fiveish Fangirls podcast. Any and all movies, books, games, and other forms of media mentioned are owned and operated by the respective copyright holders. No copyright infringement is intended or implied.